Today's video is brought to you by Visme. I spend a lot of time on this channel talking about how to get rid of noise in your images. But just to be clear, noise is not always a bad thing. It can enhance your artistic vision. For example, here's some 8mm footage of me when I was 13 years old running down a residential street in Los Angeles wearing a werewolf mask and carrying a butcher knife. I don't know. I think the noise and the grain adds to the vibe of that footage. Just saying. Hi everyone, welcome to Pal to Tech. Today we're talking about high ISO noise reduction on Fujifilm cameras. First off, this setting used to be called simply noise reduction. However, Fujifilm changed the name to high ISO noise reduction, and it appears in the menu as simply high ISO NR. Now this setting is not to be confused with long exposure noise reduction. These are completely different settings for different purposes. The long exposure noise reduction setting is designed more for longer shutter speeds of over 30 minutes and special use cases. However, the high ISO noise reduction setting instead applies to a lot more common shooting situations. Before we go any further, you need to remember that this setting, like many in the IQ section of your camera's menu, is meant for JPEG images only. It doesn't affect images that are shot in RAW format. If you're shooting in RAW, then most likely you will be reducing noise in post-production using sliders in the software, or perhaps even using special software plugins. Now, the setting is located in the IQ section of your camera's menu. Also note that this setting is available for both stills and video. Now, the actual settings themselves can be a bit confusing. For example, on an X-T4, it ranges from +4 all the way down to -4. So what that means is that +4 would reduce the amount of noise in your image as much as possible, while -4 would essentially apply little or no noise reduction at all. So then at 0, you would assume that some noise reduction is being applied, and you would then need to go into the negative numbers to lower it down. For these demos, I'm going to be mostly comparing them to the 0 setting on your camera, because that's what most of you are using, and that's the default on the camera. Okay, zoomed all the way in here at ISO 1600 at 100%, I don't see much difference between 0 or +4 of noise reduction. If I jump all the way to 800, yeah, I can maybe see a little bit, I guess. Yes, definitely at 800%, you can spot the differences between 0 and +4. Now here's 0 and +2. And at 100%, you can see a little bit of noise reduction. And overall, it doesn't look bad. It's just a little bit that's been applied. But I can tell already that at 1600 ISO, that +4 noise reduction, I probably wouldn't want to use it even at ISO 1600, but can you imagine what it's going to look like at these higher ISOs? Okay, here I am at 3200 ISO, zoomed in at 300%, and it's starting to have kind of that waxy look. You see that right there? It seems to me that with this setting, it almost kicks in or gets activated when the camera hits 3200 ISO, or at least it gets a lot more noticeable, and that's what I'm noticing. Likewise, if we look at the difference between 0 and -3, you can kind of see a difference at 3200 ISO at 100%. If I zoom into 300%, yeah, it's there, but very small. -1 looks pretty much identical. Before we continue, I would like to give a big thank you to today's video sponsor, Visme. Visme is an online tool that allows you to easily design, store, and share your own branded content. What makes this tool different from a program like, say, PowerPoint is that it has a feature that uses AI to scan your logo, automatically read your fonts and colors, and then in seconds will generate all kinds of branded content. Visme focuses on the branded needs of businesses and offers thousands of graphics, templates, charts, and data tools that you can use. They have templates and graphics for everything from newsletters to web and social media graphics to infographics to even video intros. So for example, in seconds, I can deliver this client breakdown by country graphic. You see how it pulled my logo colors and fonts? I can then quickly make some adjustments to further refine the design. Everything you need for editing can be done right inside the web browser with no special special software required. Once you're done, you can store your files securely online, as well as export them down to your computer in all kinds of common formats. To learn more about Visme, please see the link down in the description below this video. And as always, a very special thank you to Visme for supporting this channel. The funny thing about Fujifilm cameras is that they handle higher ISOs so well. Even comparing here to 6400 ISO, the version on the right doesn't really look like it has much noise, even at 0. And if I look at 0 versus -3, yeah, there's a bit more noise, but not much. Where you start to see high ISO noise reduction is when you have images that are above 12,800 ISO. Here's +3 versus -3. However, at +3 at 12,800 ISO, you're definitely seeing that smudgy, waxy look. You see that right there? Notice how even the glasses don't look exactly right. And if I jump to +4, it gets even worse. Now we get to the top dial ISO of 12,800. Remember that these next two I'm about to show you are extended ISO value ranges, and they are not native to the camera, meaning that the camera is applying this after it's already been put through the analog to digital converter. Okay, as predicted, 0 on the left, +4 on the right. Yeah, you don't have the noise anymore, but it just has that waxy feeling to it. And honestly, if I had to pick between -3, which would introduce more noise, or +3, which the camera is saying, you know, remove the noise, I'll take the -3 any day. If I zoom in 300%, you can see it even more clearly. And we come to 51,200 ISO. Now we're talking some serious noise in your JPEGs. Here's 0 versus +4. Again, at this high of an ISO value, 0 is so much better because you retain more detail in the shadows. Here's 0 versus -3. And I'll say this, if you're shooting at this high of an ISO, you are not going to want to put your camera setting to -3. No way, no how. I'm not even liking +2 very much. Let's drop it down to +1. Okay, so here's 0 versus +1. And I have to tell you, +1 at this high of an ISO range, not too bad. And it does smooth out some of the noise without making the image look fake. I'm looking at it at 300% here. So for this high of an ISO, I would go either +1 or maybe +2, never above +2. Now, some of you keen observers will notice that I did not demonstrate -4, and there's a reason for that. I just forgot about it. Let me tell you why, hold on. So if you look at the back of the camera, okay, when I went to the menu, right, when I first was setting this up, look at that. This is what I saw, and I just didn't think to go, you know, click down, click down, click down. Oh, there's 4. I didn't see it, I didn't think about it, and therefore, of all the images I shot, none of them had -4, okay? And I thought, should I reshoot the whole thing again and not do a video this week? No, okay? Because let me tell you something, -4 is just a little bit more than -3. Use your imagination, apply it to what I taught you. I'm not shooting these again. The video's done, and here it is. Let's go to the conclusions. Let me say now that there are much better ways to reduce noise in your images if that's what you're trying to achieve. First off, shoot RAW. Secondly, use a professional and dedicated noise removal tool such as Topaz Labs Denoise AI. Even the built-in tools in Capture One and Lightroom can reduce noise in your RAW files much better than the noise reduction setting on your camera. And don't forget, when you edit RAW files, you can selectively edit certain areas of your image to reduce noise. This is a huge benefit, whereas using the, noise reduction setting on the camera, it's applied in one, bulk way across the entire image. Now, I did not test this out in movie shooting mode, as that's really a separate video topic and it involves compression and bit rates and so forth. I will revisit that in the future. Whatever value you do use to set it at, one thing is very clear. Your photos will always look better at the extreme end of the minus scale versus the plus scale, meaning that if you accidentally left, your high ISO NR setting to -3 or -4, your images will, yes, have a bit of grain in them, but they will still be usable, even at high ISOs. However, if you put the setting to the other end of the scale, to say +4, your photos are going to look pretty much terrible no matter what ISO you use above 3200. I would never really put this setting much beyond +1 or even +2 at the absolute highest. If you really want to use it, try it out at +1 first and see what you get. I can almost guarantee you will not like the results at +3 or +4, as it will cause smudges to appear in your images. Well, that wraps it up for today's video, and thank you so much for watching. I hope you found the video helpful or at least entertaining, and if you did, be sure to give it the like and subscribe. I am going to be signing off now. Have a wonderful weekend, and I will see all of you in another video next week. Take care.